This is News 8 Now this morning.
Make sure that you have good access points and exit ways out of the house, and you practice your exit drills regularly so you can get out of the fire in emergency.
We average between 25 and 30 individuals in the evening. During the daytime, because we were open 24/7, we had higher numbers.
We have a great partnership right now with Train Technologies. They come in and run some STEM programming for us. And what we found is that some of those kids that normally have some behavioral issues or have a lot going on at home and at school, that's the 1 hour of the day where they are laser focused. They're really engaged, they're having fun, they're learning something, and they're feeling good about themselves.
And that was your eye opener. Good morning, everybody, and thanks for watching News 8 Now this morning. I'm Ken Kozrowski, and that is Derek Sibley. It is 6 a.m. on this Thursday, December 29th, 2022. And Derek, it's like we jumped forward in time a couple of months, waking up to upper 30s, if not 40. The roads are looking clear because of the rainfall and warm temperatures, and it's just nice for the end of December to look like spring. I think we'll all enjoy this for today, for sure.
Yeah, it's a nice change to kind of wake up to, and I noticed like a lot of melting here from my roof on top of my apartment building, and also just a lot of like melting slush on the roads. It's just, you know, coming to an end. But hey, we can't forget that we're still in winter. We will have more snow, I'm sure, Ken, here later this winter season. But as of right now, we're kind of on a pause here for the winter as we speak. City Cam 8 is looking quiet with these temperatures. Look at that, 40 degrees right now in La Crosse. But it is a little cooler though in Eau Claire at 36 degrees. But overall, mid-30s to low 40s is what we see here right now, with the wind chill values make it feel like into the low to mid-30s, such as feel like at 34 in La Crosse. So we got cloudy skies across the area. Those clouds doing us a lot of favors here too, along with that south wind keeping us pretty warm overnight. We also did have a few light rain showers here across our western zones overnight. That has since lifted to the north and also has weakened. Here's a check now on the rest of your planner for the morning. Partly cloudy through now until around noon, or until around 9, I should say, and then pretty much mostly cloudy here late morning into the early afternoon. That's when our temperatures will also be rising into the low 40s for those of you that are still not quite there yet. We will be looking at some pretty cloudy conditions between around 3 and 5. There's also that chance of a light drizzle or shower here, Ken, by the time we reach this evening. We'll talk more about that, plus your full weather forecast in just a bit.
All right, thanks very much, Derek. Let's get some news on this Thursday morning. Firefighters had to respond to yet another fire last night, this time in Onalaska. Crews were called to a duplex on East Avenue North. Firefighters said they could see smoke coming from inside the house and found flames in the basement. Now, there were no injuries, and the families in both units of the duplex made it out safely. The assistant fire chief says this is a good reminder for your families and loved ones to have an emergency exit plan.
Make sure that you have good access points and exit ways out of the house, and you practice your exit drills regularly so you can get out of the fire in emergency.
Yeah, something we don't always think about, but definitely important. And according to the assistant chief, investigators have not yet determined a cause for the fire. They offer life-saving care, but every year fewer people join their ranks. Rural communities are in desperate need of first responders. Our own Emily Haugen spoke to a Cashton couple hoping to recruit others to follow in their footsteps.
It takes a lot of heart to save lives.
Well, there's something to be said about helping out your neighbor when they're in need.
Mary Beth and Rod Smith have volunteered as first responders since December 1981.
I guess the need was there, and so we took the call.
Today, the Smiths are two of many.
We have 22, and I want to be very honest with you. We are a very lucky squad.
But most rural communities aren't so fortunate.
Westby, I think they have under 10, and I know that they were looking for help. I mean, they used to have a squad of 1.
When this life-saving population's numbers are low, a community suffers. The Smiths need others to step up and help.
So it does take a lot of people to secure the area and then to take care of the patients and all of that. So it can require a lot of hands.
Hands dedicated to work whenever duty calls.
The page goes off at 3 o'clock in the morning.
24/7, holidays included.
The Smiths and other volunteers have valuable skills, but they admit they can't carry their department forever.
3 of us that are in our 70s and 4 or 5 more that are pushing that. So, how long are we going to be able to keep going?
They say young people are needed to keep the service and the communities they serve healthy and safe.
Just being kind to others and helping others is kind of the drive behind anybody that wants to continue to do this. Because we know someday we may need them to help us, and so we're hoping other people will step up and help as well.
In Cashton, Emily Haugen, News 8 Now.
Thanks very much, Emily. And a class will be offered beginning on January 11th. Kathy Winland says if you live in the Cashton Surface area, the department may be able to pay for your class, but the class is open to anyone. We have sign-up information at our website, news8000.com. Meanwhile, La Crosse is part of a national effort to prevent overdose deaths. A professor from the UW School of Medicine is leading a team of researchers who will test the effectiveness of harm reduction services. Those services can include access to Narcan, drug testing strips, and clean needles to reduce overdoses and disease transmission. So the study will be done at Vivint Health locations, including one in La Crosse. The professor leading the study says researchers will prioritize the long-term impacts of the research. They hope to find ways to make harm reduction services better and to spread awareness within communities and instill change.
The lessons that we are learning about how to strengthen the impact of the services for the people who need it are going to benefit from making the general community aware of them.
If you or someone you know needs free access to overdose treatments like Narcan, call 211 or go to 211wisconsin.org. Roughly 25 people used the La Crosse's Southside Neighborhood Center as a shelter during last week's winter storm. Mayor Mitch Reynolds had made the emergency declaration, and News 8 Now's Dua Esrar spoke to the city's homeless service coordinator about the city's plan for future emergencies.
For people who live outside, finding a place to stay during severe weather can be the difference between life or death.
There's a lot of people that really care and understand the issue of homelessness and what that means for our community.
When last week's winter storm made its way to La Crosse, Mayor Mitch Reynolds issued an emergency declaration.
So this was an emergency plan strictly based off of the weather that was about to hit our community instead of the numbers in our community.
The city opened the Southside Neighborhood Center from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m.
We averaged between 25 and 30 individuals in the evening. During the daytime, because we were open 24/7, we had higher numbers.
People who came after the hours needed a referral to enter or be escorted by the La Crosse Police Department.
That's typical for warming centers. That was based off of policies here in La Crosse as well, like at Catholic Charities Warming Center. So we wanted to keep that consistent.
Volunteers and nonprofits, including the Salvation Army and Karuna, provided meals.
There were a couple of other meals provided by different agencies and different people as well throughout the time.
La Crosse's homeless service coordinator Brian Sampson says the emergency shelters were successful but are not a long-term solution.
Housing is the way out of this. The more people we have off the streets and the more people that we have into housing with the necessary supportive services, the better it is for everybody.
Reporting in La Crosse, Dua Esrar, News 8 Now.
Thanks, Dua. Talon security and cleaning services were used during that emergency declaration. Sampson says the city is still working on calculating the total cost. And during the storm, city officials and nonprofits also offered meals to people who were still at Huska Park and reminded them that the shelter was an option. Federal funding will help the Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater La Crosse get kids interested in future careers. Representative Ron Kind helped secure $1.5 million for the BGC. The money will go toward building an addition on the Erickson Club that will have more space for workforce readiness programs.
I've always believed that the best investment we can make as a country is in our youth, to make sure that they're given every opportunity to be successful and to succeed in life, especially with the hyper-competitive global economy that we find ourselves in.
The new program will focus on offering kids a chance to learn about trade and manufacturing jobs. Kids will learn what they like and don't like about skilled trades. Leaders at BGC say they already offer programs through partnerships with local companies, and they're a huge success.
We have a great partnership right now with Train Technologies. They come in and run some STEM programming for us. And what we found is that some of those kids that normally have some behavioral issues or have a lot going on at home and at school, that's the 1 hour of the day where they are laser focused. They're really engaged, they're having fun, they're learning something, and they're feeling good about themselves.
This funding won't cover all the costs of the addition and programming, but leaders say they're hoping to break ground sometime next year. Time is now 6:09 a.m. Still ahead on your morning news. Reaching that free perk at Starbucks is going to cost you some more. We'll explain. And the grocery item that is costing shoppers an arm and a leg. That's all coming up after the break. For now, we're sending you to break with something to put the good in your morning. This year, Frosty the Snowman, he's got some competition. A giant snowman named Snowy Cromer is making the Minocqua Visitors Bureau his home. Standing at over 40 feet tall, Snowy Cromer welcomes all visitors into Minocqua. This is Snowmy's first appearance since 2019, and his life depends on the amount of snow the area receives. Community members come together to collect snow for Snowy, and he's so popular that he even has his own merchandise at the Visitors Bureau. Don't go anywhere. More News 8 Now this morning coming up after the break.
Cloudy weather conditions continue to move in across the Coulee region from the west and spreading its way eastward. We were watching a few light showers here to our west. Those have since cleared out, though. Current temperatures very mild here this morning. In fact, La Crosse is currently sitting at 40 degrees, 30s everywhere else, and feel like temperatures pretty much in those low to mid 30s here to work with as well. Your zone forecast today calling for high temperatures to be into the upper 30s, low 40s in La Crosse, and really actually around the low 40s, I should say, with West Salem at 45. Now, as we head further south, low to mid 40s here as well today. Highs around 45 for you in Viroqua. As we head to our central zones, same story here. Black River Falls at 45, Alma Center at 43 degrees. Meanwhile, to Eau Claire, this is kind of where we see those upper 30s to low 40s all across the north zones. So for your schoolcast this morning, we'll be talking 39 degrees, partly to mostly cloudy. Same story really for the lunch hour, 42 degrees. Except cloudier skies though for the afternoon especially, and temperatures at 43 degrees as we wrap up the day here and heading into that dismissal time. But stay tuned. We'll have a check on your full weather forecast a little bit later.
La Crosse drivers are taking advantage of the warm-up this week to get a much-needed car wash. When the weather's warmer, car washes around La Crosse naturally see an uptick in business. On Wednesday, all the businesses we were at, they were busy. ShipShape reported having hundreds of customers per hour, and employees say they look forward to these warmer days all year.
We wait all year for this. The excitement of getting to see all the different customers coming in and all the different cars, and we just, don't like sitting around twiddling our thumbs.
The manager says getting your car washed can also help prevent rust. Starbucks, meanwhile, is changing its rewards program. Starting February 13th, members will need to spend more to get free drinks and food. So right now, members can earn a free cup of coffee or tea, baked good, or packaged snack when they have 50 stars. But soon it will cost them 100 stars. And a free latte, frappuccino, or hot breakfast item will cost 200 stars instead of 150. Members earn 1 star for every dollar they spend using a credit card, and 2 stars if they use a Starbucks card. Several grocery items have gotten more expensive this year, but egg prices have seen customers scramble at the grocery store more than the rest. Experts credit this year's avian flu and inflation for the increased pricing. The flu took out several poultry flocks while the demand for eggs remained high. Prices will vary from store to store, as some grocery stores may have better inventory than others. And of course, certain eggs will also cost more or less than depending on which one you buy. Looking to upgrade your home with the help of Uncle Sam? Well, the Inflation Reduction Act includes rebates and tax credits for energy-efficient purchases like appliances, electric vehicles, and solar panels. Consumer Reports says there are other ways to take advantage of those credits by going green on your next home improvement project.
During a home renovation, Consumer Reports' Paul Hope tried to make environmentally conscious choices. Switching from a gas stove to an electric range was an easy one.
I've always preferred cooking on a gas range, but I knew electric and induction ranges had gotten a lot better over the years, and that they're way better for the environment.
With funding from Congress, the Inflation Reduction Act means homeowners can take advantage of up to $14,000 in rebates and tax credits for making energy efficiency upgrades. How much you'll be able to get will depend on how much you earn, where you live, and what improvements you make. Want to upgrade to a more eco-friendly stove? A rebate up to $840 could make it within your budget. Plus, you can receive another $500 to help cover the costs of converting from natural gas or propane to electric. The largest credits and rebates, as much as $8,000 off, are available for heat pumps, a high-efficiency system that heats and cools your home in place of a furnace or boiler and an air conditioner.
While the upfront cost for a heat pump may be higher, these incentives will definitely help. And over the long term, you might actually save money depending upon where you live and what fuel and electricity cost in your area.
And with rebates for upgrading to more efficient exterior doors, windows, and skylights, you'll be adding value and warmth to your home.
Now, if an electric heat pump doesn't make sense for your home, you can also qualify for a $300 tax credit with certain Energy Star certified gas water heaters.
Well, this morning sure is a pretty mild start. City Cam 8 showing that our current conditions are looking quiet, but pretty warm here for the temperature of 40 degrees, a feel like of 34 from a south wind, 9 miles an hour, and it's 40 degrees here at the station here in downtown La Crosse. 36 and mostly cloudy skies currently being observed in Eau Claire. The temperature here, or the feel like I should say, is 32. South winds at around 5 miles an hour here. Winona at 36 degrees, same story Black River Falls, and the same can be said in Sparta and also east into Volkfield. Check out Prairie du Chien, very warm, 45 degrees. Bosquebel currently at 37. Our wind chill does make it feel, though, that we're into the 30s pretty much everywhere across the area, though this morning. Our high temperatures, however, by this afternoon should reach those 40-degree values, especially basically from south of Eau Claire down towards Prairie du Chien. We'll be feeling that, but anywhere from Eau Claire and north should be looking at high temperatures only into the upper 30s this afternoon. Overcast skies along with a south wind overnight kept us pretty warm, and you can see those clouds will continue to move in across the area. We were watching a few light rain showers back to our western and northern zones, but they have since cleared out. Let's widen out the view here, and you can see this next system in the form of a trough of low pressure. You can see this cold front here extending associated with this broad area of low pressure. Behind it, we are expected to feel temperatures drop here a little bit as we head into tomorrow. We'll get to that in a second, but partly to mostly cloudy skies up until around noon today. Temperatures in the 40s here this afternoon. Cloudy skies around 4 and 8 o'clock, 37 with some passing showers that could become a possibility. And in fact, you'll see that here on SkyTracker, a couple of light spotty showers here for the afternoon. Otherwise, overcast skies throughout the day, and you can see those spotty showers linger as we head into the evening, mainly focused central and east here as we head into the evening hours. And then overnight, everything kind of clears out, but it looks like skies will continue to remain cloudy with those temperatures overnight into the 20s and low 30s. By tomorrow morning, we'll be looking at some leftover cloudiness, and there is a possibility of some of that kind of lingering in the form of fog, looking at that lasting into early Friday afternoon and late Friday afternoon too. And then by Friday afternoon into the evening, it looks like everything should come to a close as far as that cloud cover goes. And we'll be looking partly cloudy with temperatures much cooler behind that cold front moving in here, as highs will only drop to 32 degrees for Friday afternoon. Now, there is a chance of rain and snow on Saturday from our next system moving in. Otherwise, pretty cloudy here for this weekend, and it looks to stay that way as we start off the new year. Chance of showers for Monday and Tuesday, highs into the low to mid 40s. Stay with us, though. Much more news and weather is still to come here on News 8 Now this morning. But for now, we are taking a very quick break with a look at what happened on this day in history for December 29th. Stay with us. And welcome back. Our temperatures this morning are very mild here as we start off the new day with current readings around 40 degrees still. We kind of been seeing temperatures stuck around 40 degrees here so far this morning in La Crosse, but meanwhile to the north in Eau Claire, you're currently at 36 degrees. Overall, pretty quiet start here this morning from City Cam 8 in downtown La Crosse, but very cloudy weather conditions do exist though overhead. A few light sprinkles here observed here to our west. Dog walking conditions this morning, partly cloudy, turning to mostly cloudy overall here for the afternoon, and then looks like as we head into the evening hours, skies will continue to remain on the cloudy side with a slight chance of a drizzle or passing shower moving through parts of the area. Stay tuned. We'll have a check on your commute forecast. That's coming up next in weather.
Welcome to the Morning Blitz. One of the greatest Badger football players ever announced that at the end of this year, he's retiring from football. J.J. Watt will leave a legacy across Wisconsin, both on and off the field. Andrew Banstrad spoke to one of his Badger teammates about the impact he's had on the program and the state.
J.J. Watt announced on Tuesday that he's retiring from football at the end of the year. One of the greatest Badgers to ever play had a long road to the top, though. After his freshman year of college, he gave up a scholarship at Central Michigan to walk on at Wisconsin, his home school.
I think he worked for Pizza Hut or Papa John's delivering pizzas just to pay for his first semester.
Brendan Kelly was right there with him on the defensive line. He says the weight of Pewaukee was on JJ's shoulders, but nothing was stopping him.
It's not just a coincidence that the Badgers ended up going to 3 Rose Bowls, having a lot of successful years, winning Big Ten titles and stuff like that.
As he burst onto the scene as one of the nation's best players, some would get a big ego, not JJ.
He wasn't just trying to say, this is all for me. He was a true teammate. He wanted the best for what was for the team. And a lot of the time, the best thing for the team was JJ doing what JJ does, because he's a playmaker. He's a phenomenal athlete.
He single-handedly raised the bar for Wisconsin football. Brendan says that passion multiplied in the locker room and has exponential impacts on the program to this day.
And JJ is the absolute epitome of a guy that was overlooked in high school, went to a smaller D1 college, walked on because he wanted to follow a dream, earned a scholarship, went in to essentially be an all Big Ten, All-American, gets drafted in the first round, goes to the Pro Bowl.
The 3-time NFL Defensive Player of the Year will go down as one of the best to ever do it. And he did it all the Wisconsin way.
You look at a guy like that and you're like, yeah, that sums up what it means to be a Wisconsin guy. And JJ did it in an unbelievable way.
Watt's Arizona Cardinals have already been eliminated from the NFL playoffs, but after the final 2 games of his career, he'll start a new job raising his newborn child. That'll do it for the Morning Blitz. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to News 8 Now this morning. Pope Francis is asking for prayers for his predecessor, Pope Emeritus Benedict XVI. Francis says the 95-year-old Benedict is very ill. Now, he resigned back in 2013, citing advanced age as the reason. It was the first time a pope had stepped down in nearly 600 years. The last pope to step down before his death was in 1415, when Pope Gregory XII resigned to end a civil war in the church after more than one man was claiming to be pope. The Biden administration is taking new steps to prevent travelers from China from spreading COVID stateside. Beginning January 5th, all travelers to the U.S. from China will be required to take a COVID-19 test no more than 2 days before travel and provide a negative test before boarding their flight. A spokesman for China's Ministry of Foreign Affairs said all parties should work together to ensure the safe movement of people between countries. The island of Taiwan could soon be able to improve its arms supplies. That's thanks to a potential $180 million arms sale approved by the Biden administration Wednesday. The proposed sale will reportedly help improve security and maintain political stability, military balance, and economic progress in the region. There's bipartisan support for supplying Taiwan with weapons. However, the move is likely to provoke anger from Beijing, which views Taiwan as part of China. Last year, the State Department of Justice wrapped up an 18-month review of sexual assault cases in the Wisconsin National Guard. The review followed a 2019 investigation by the Federal National Guard, which found at least 33 sexual assault cases that were mishandled. To prevent it from happening again, a series of changes were introduced as to how the National Guard operates. The report will go to the governor and lawmakers, including data on the number of reported sexual assaults and what policies the Guard has put in place to prevent those incidents.
Prior to the unfortunate events that happened, that was out of whack, and that was one of the focuses. How do we? And that's one of the bills addresses, to bring that up to standards with a uniform code of military justice.
So these bills will be brought to the legislature next year. They have broad bipartisan support, including from the governor. La Crosse voters will head to the polls this April to choose the winners of 6 La Crosse Common Council seats and 4 seats on the La Crosse Board of Education. Now, deadlines for candidates are fast approaching. Ballot documents have to be returned to the city clerk by January 3rd. That's next week already. If you have questions about running, contact the city clerk at that number or the email on your screen. It sounds like a scene out of a feel-good holiday movie. When a Milwaukee woman drove to St. Louis to pick up her stranded friend, she ended up giving a lift to others who were stuck. Sarah McGrew has the story.
These Wisconsinites all spent Christmas in different places, but on Monday ended up in a car together from St. Louis to Milwaukee. It started on Friday as Bob Mayer was making his way back to the Cream City from Houston.
I was supposed to get back into Milwaukee right around 10 o'clock, 9:30, so I could spend Christmas at home.
He was flying on Southwest.
They canceled that flight.
He was rescheduled for Christmas Eve, only to have that flight canceled. He rebooked again and again and eventually got to St. Louis via New Orleans at 2 a.m. the day after Christmas. Then it started happening again.
And then I looked at the monitor and all these flights were being canceled and my flight was delayed already. So
He called his neighbor, Ginny Summers, back in Horicon, Wisconsin.
He said, you know, I don't know if I have a flight for 11 o'clock, but I don't think it's going to happen. And I said, well, you know, I told you if you need me to, I'll come get you.
So Ginny started the 6-hour drive to the St. Louis airport and told Bob if there was anyone else that needed a ride, she'd pick them up too. Enter Alex Tick and his wife, who were stuck in St. Louis due to Southwest cancellations on the way back to Milwaukee from a Cancun Christmas vacation.
It's when Bob approached me from the other side of the bar. He had seen my Packer hat and, you know, nice Wisconsin guy, assumed I was going to Milwaukee.
When Ginny arrived to the St. Louis airport at midnight, they piled in her car and began the drive home. Alex offered to take the wheel.
Found out we had a decent amount in common, so it was fun, and made a couple new friends that we didn't expect to make.
You know, it's just the right thing to do. I can't just leave people stranded down there.
That's a selfless act right there. Well, Ashley for the Arts is starting a fundraiser by traveling the country. The nonprofit organization is joining Hub Group's Cause Container program lineup. The Cause Container is a road or rail container decorated with Ashley for the Arts branding, and that's going to travel across the country in an effort to raise awareness about the concert. When people see the Arts Container, they can help raise money for the event by posting a picture with the hashtag Cause Container. This program and the nonprofit's other fundraisers help reduce costs, make the concert more affordable for music fans, and more valuable to the nonprofits that benefit from it.
Because we're able to have great sponsors like the Hub Group, it helps offset those costs, which we are able to donate back to our communities that we live and support.
The Cause Container's journey across the U.S. will last for all of 2023. The mats are all rolled out and ready to go. The 40th annual Bi-State Classic Wrestling Tournament begins at the La Crosse Center today. Nearly 1,000 high school wrestlers hope to pin their way to the top of the brackets at that tournament. The two-day event is split into two categories. The Bi-State Classic features boys, and the Showcase features girls. Last year, 52 female wrestlers took part in the first ever showcase. This year, that number has more than tripled to 180.
You know, women's wrestling is growing in Wisconsin, and you know, this is just proof of it. We've sort of been one of the leaders in the women wrestling world, Holmen has, so might be surprising to other people, but we know that it's gonna really blossom over the next couple of years.
Meanwhile, more than 800 young men will also be competing. Lulav is expecting roughly 3,000 spectators. Time now to look back at one of our favorite stories of the year 2022. Back in March, we introduced you to a Viroqua basketball team making quite a name for itself. The Driftless Dribblers won only a handful of games, but the team's other stats were far more impressive.
Driven by numbers.
And they're talking to each other down there.
The scoreboard.
Way to go, guys!
Has nothing on the Hardwood Warriors.
Oh, they can really go.
Who make the shots.
They don't miss.
So it's not a rocking chair world.
More than 400 women nationwide play in the Granny Basketball League.
Some of them do things you wouldn't believe they do.
Players must be at least 50 years old.
I didn't get started until I was 65, so...
But the older...
I'm not ready to quit yet.
The better.
Some of them are like in their 80s, you know, 85.
Hey, way to go!
The uniforms and rules are also old school.
1920 girls rules in Iowa. But you're not supposed to be running. You're not supposed to be jumping. You can only dribble 3 times.
There is no physical contact, and players must pass the ball down the court.
Oh, that's all right.
That is the three-pointer here in this game.
Offense is key. So is staying on your feet.
Balance at our age isn't as good, so people just fall.
And when they do, they don't stay down for long.
And then they help her up. Now with knee replacements, I mean, you're pretty good to go. It's like putting on a new tire of a car, you know?
Keep it up, guys. You can do it.
These grannies.
This is a bead of sweat.
Have game.
This is a game. It's for real.
And that story even made its way to the CBS Weekend News. Well, we are about halfway through winter break, and parents, if your kids are already complaining about being bored, we're here to help. There are plenty of fun and free things to do in the area, like hiking La Crosse's Hickson Forest. According to the website, the city maintains 10 trails during the winter. And depending on which trail you choose, you can hike between less than half a mile or up to 3.5 miles. If you'd rather glide, you can ice skate for free at the Chad Erickson Memorial Ice Rink. Free skate rentals will be available through December 30th. You can also skate at Copeland Park, but you'll need to bring your own skates there. Now, if you'd rather take a seat, which I understand, do it on a sled. The Onalaska Omni Center Sled Hill is a popular spot to race your friends. You'll need to bring your own sled, though if you don't have one, there are little free sled libraries at La Crosse's Myrick and Lewitt Parks. If you or your kids would rather stay inside, no shame there, head to the library. You can browse the bookshelves, create some arts and crafts, or play pretend in the mock vet clinic. The library also offers board games and video games, and of course, it's always warm inside.
You can come and hang out. We're very warm. It's a lovely place to be. We're very happy to have families come and bring the whole family with. We have something for everybody.
Kids and adults can also browse the internet and check out some movies.
Well, it sure is a very mild start here this morning with temperatures readings currently into those low to mid 40s across the Coulee region. In fact, it's 40 degrees currently if you look at La Crosse, and to the north in Eau Claire, also pretty mild here this morning, around 36 degrees. City Cam 8 off to a pretty quiet start out there. We will be looking at the cloudy weather conditions that you see now pretty much lasting through the day today. As you can see here on today's forecast, 43 degrees with those cloudy skies overhead. A light drizzle is possible, especially late. Let's get to tonight. Cloudy skies, maybe a light mix possible in the form of some rain, kind of mixing together with a little bit of light snow. Temperatures will actually be cold enough for that too at 23. West winds at 10 to 15 miles an hour. So for your drivecast out there, conditions look good. Partly to mostly cloudy. Overall, mostly cloudy for the lunch hour too. And then for this evening, cloudy skies. Otherwise, there could be a slight drizzle possible too underneath some of those thicker clouds containing a bit more moisture. But we'll talk about that plus your full weather forecast coming up in just a bit. Ken?
All right, thanks very much, Derek. Coming up after the break, after just 2 weeks since hitting the box office, Avatar: The Way of Water has already reached a huge milestone. We'll have that in our Buzz Report in just a few minutes.
Well, it was a very mild start here this morning with current conditions looking like this in La Crosse. 40 degrees, very mild start for this time of the year. A degree cooler than that here downtown at the station at 39 degrees. South winds at around 9 miles an hour. Now to the north in Eau Claire, a little cooler though, 36 degrees for you with a feel-like temperature at the freezing mark of 32. Winds at around 5 miles an hour coming from the south. Visibility though looking good at 10 miles there for you. 34 degrees now in Sparta, 36 in Volkfield to the east, and it's currently 38 degrees in Viroqua. We do have feel-like temperatures, though, in the low 30s for the most part when you factor in the wind chills currently. Our high temperatures today will be rising at least into those low to mid 40s for a lot of locations across the Coulee region, but anywhere from west of Winona and also to the north around Eau Claire, probably more so looking at the mid to upper 30s here for you. Cloudy skies currently moving in from the west. Also a few light rain showers here were observed across our western and northern zones here overnight. That has since cleared out, but here is what we're watching next. This very broad trough of low pressure, and the system is containing a cold front here you can see back to the west of us here as well. Now that cold front is expected to move in here tonight, and that's going to help cool us down just in time to end the work week. We'll get to that in a second. But partly to mostly cloudy skies for the rest of the 6 to 12 o'clock hours. We will be looking at 41 degrees with cloudy skies around 4 o'clock today. Then a few showers here are possible as we head towards this evening. Temperatures then dropping back into the upper 30s. You'll see that here on Sky Tracker. As a matter of fact, a couple of some spotty showers are possible right around that 3 o'clock hour here late this afternoon. And then as we take you into this evening around the 8 o'clock hour, into this evening looking at a few scattered showers here across our central and eastern zones. But that should clear out though as we head into overnight tonight. And then we're just left over with mainly cloudy weather conditions here to work with for the rest of the night. And that should continue into early tomorrow morning for the most part under mainly cloudy weather conditions. A little bit of some patchy fog here early to the late morning hours. And at the same time, those temperatures will be dropping here behind the front. You can see 20s and 30s here for the most part as we take you into Friday. And it looks like we will be looking at the clouds here clearing out as well as we head into later in the day tomorrow. Let's get a check now on your 8-day forecast, and you'll see that we will be looking at temperatures warming back up into the upper 30s for the weekend, with a chance of rain and snow kind of mixing together there for Saturday. New Year's Day, cloudy start to the new year, 39 degrees there. And next week, Monday and Tuesday, to be specific, we will be looking at a chance of some showers. So that's something to keep our eyes on, with highs into the low to mid 40s. And then temperatures then drop back into the low 30s for Wednesday and Thursday. That will be from our next cold front moving in. But overall, low temperatures remaining somewhat consistent there, mainly into the 20s.
In our Buzz Report this morning, when you've made the highest grossing movie in history, the sequel has an awfully high bar to clear. However, director James Cameron, he's done it again. Avatar: The Way of Water has surpassed $1 billion in worldwide ticket sales already. It's the fastest movie this year to reach that milestone, and one of only a handful of films ever to top $1 billion in 2 weeks or less. Controversial comedian Bill Cosby is eyeing a return to touring in 2023. During a surprise radio interview Wednesday on WGH Talk, Cosby answered yes when asked if 2023 is the year he might finally be able to tour again. A Cosby rep has reportedly confirmed that the comedian is looking to start touring in the spring or summer. But Cosby's troubles may not be over just yet. 5 women recently filed new sexual assault lawsuits against him under a New York law that temporarily suspends the statute of limitations for older sexual assault claims. Whoopi Goldberg is speaking out after the Anti-Defamation League criticized her for comments about the Holocaust. Goldberg appeared to question whether the Holocaust was racially motivated in an interview with the Sunday Times of London, suggesting that Jews are divided on whether they are a race, religion, or both. The Anti-Defamation League called Goldberg's recent comments, quote, deeply offensive. In a statement, Goldberg said her support for Jewish people has not wavered and never will. Time is now 6:47 a.m. Let's head to break with today's Look Who's 8, Derek.
All right, Ken, so we got one today, and this is Anna, and Anna's turning 8. She is outgoing, loves nature, animals, and enjoys arts and crafts.
A happy birthday to Anna. If you know a special someone turning 8 months, 8 years, 18, 80, or 88 years old soon, we'd love to feature them.
Just upload their photo to our website, news8000.com, and look for the Submit Pictures button under the Home tab on our website.
Stay with us. We have everything you need to know today in 5 minutes or less. Your morning news now, coming up next. Time is now 6:51 a.m. and it's time for your morning news now. In Cashton, there are 22 first responders on staff. Surrounding communities aren't so lucky, and every one of those communities, including Cashton, are now looking for staffing help. Mary Beth and Rod Smith have worked as first responders in Cashton since December of 1981. After more than 40 years, though, they hope others will follow in their footsteps.
Just being kind to others and helping others is kind of the drive behind anybody that wants to continue to do this. Because we know someday we may need them to help us, and so we're hoping other people will step up and then help as well.
And you can help fill those gaps in rural communities. If you would like to become a first responder, you can sign up for an upcoming class by January 3rd. It's open to people from all communities, not just Cashton. But if you happen to live in the Cashton service area, the department is working on a reimbursement plan to pay for that tuition. Roughly 25 people used La Crosse's Southside Neighborhood Center as a shelter during last week's winter storm. La Crosse Mayor Mitch Reynolds had issued an emergency declaration ahead of that system. The city opened the Southside Neighborhood Center from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. for 5 days. People who came after the hours needed a referral to enter or be escorted by the La Crosse Police Department. The city's Parks and Rec director says at its peak, 35 people used the shelter.
We averaged between 25 and 30 individuals in the evening. During the daytime, because we were open 24/7, we had higher numbers.
Now, volunteers and nonprofits, including the Salvation Army and Karuna, provided meals. Talon security and cleaning services were used during the emergency declaration. And the city's homeless services coordinator, Brian Sampson, says they're still working on calculating the total cost. Ashley for the Arts is starting a fundraiser by traveling the country. The nonprofit organization is joining Hub Group's Cause Container program lineup. The Cause container is a road rail container decorated with Ashley for the Arts branding, as you see there. So that's going to travel across the country in an effort to raise awareness about the yearly concert. When people see the Arts container, they can actually help raise money for the event by posting a picture with the hashtag Cause container. And this program and the nonprofit's other fundraisers help reduce costs, make the concert more affordable for those music fans, and more valuable to the nonprofits that benefit from it.
Because we're able to have great sponsors like the Hub Group, it helps offset those costs, which we are able to donate back to our communities that we live and support.
And there's so many groups that actually support from Ashley for the Arts, raises a lot of money. The Cause Container's journey across the U.S. will be lasting for all of 2023. And we are about halfway through winter break, and parents, if your kids are already complaining about being bored, well, we're here to help. There are plenty of fun and free things to do in the area, like hiking La Crosse's Hickson Forest. Get them out and about. According to its website, the city maintains 10 trails during the winter, and depending on which trail you choose, you can hike between less than half a mile or up to 3.5 miles. If you'd rather glide, you can ice skate for free at the Chad Erickson Memorial Ice Rink. Free skate rental will be available through December 30th. You can also skate at Copeland Park, but there you will need to bring your own skates. If you'd rather take a seat, do it on a sled. That's the way to go. On Alaska Omni Center Sled Hill, it's a popular spot to race your friends. You will, of course, need to bring your own sled. However, if you don't have one, there are little free sled libraries at both La Crosse's Myrick and Lewitt Parks. And if you or your kids would rather stay inside, although nice and mild now, just head to the library. You can browse the bookshelves, create some arts and crafts, or play pretend in the mock vet clinic. The library also has board games and video games, and of course, it's always warm inside.
Well, sounds like there's plenty of to do for the last bit of winter break there. Temperatures in the upper 30s between 7 and 9 o'clock, and then we warm up into the low 40s late morning into the early afternoon. Now, there is that chance of a shower or drizzle here this evening, but overall nothing really too significant. Otherwise, you can expect just a mainly cloudy day, along with that south to southwest wind that we'll be working with. And as we take a look now at the 8-day forecast, chances of rain here and maybe even a little bit of snow are possible on Saturday. Otherwise cloudy for the weekend. Temperatures in the upper 30s again after cooling down here tomorrow. And then we start to see temperatures warm right back up into the low to mid 40s early next week, with a chance of rain for Monday and Tuesday. But at least those low temperatures are somewhat more consistent than those highs there into the 20s. Maybe there's a chance Tuesday morning we wake up to 38 degrees, but but other than that, yeah, it's looking good.
Yeah, nice and mild. We'll enjoy it. Yeah. Thanks so much, Derek. And thank you for watching News 8 Now. Don't forget to keep up with the news of the day on our website, news8000.com, and we'll have the latest updates to today's top stories during our News 8 Now at noon show. Have a great rest of your day, everybody, and we'll see you tomorrow.